talk and show this.
Okay, folks, Kathy Zeman here from Minnesota Farmers Market Association. Can everyone hear me okay? Nod your head. And good job. And if you have any questions while I'm talking, go ahead and type those into the chat and someone will tell me what that says. So remember, COVID kind of went to heck on us that last week or the second week in March. And so like March 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, right? And that's when everybody had to scramble and do a fruit basket upset and redo. So we did have several winter farmers markets in place. And so we quickly made sure that farmers and farmers markets were considered essential services. And so, you know, the good side of all of that is that we got to work right alongside all of MDA, Minnesota Department of Ag, and MDH, Minnesota Department of Health, as everybody marched forward trying to figure out how to keep everybody safe. So we all worked together to figure out what the rules were and then how we were going to comply. And so farmers markets are now, I would tell you, in fairly decent shape. We kind of know what we're supposed to do. Depending on, you know, how big our areas are, if we're going to do food sampling or if we're going to allow on-site food consumption. And we are once again looking now into moving back indoors for winter farmers markets. We're going to have a number of winter farmers markets indoors. And so we were marching forward okay. And then of course the COVID-19 rules hit, and then we had to start looking at apple orchards and pumpkin patches and, you know, agritourism. And that's really when, and really one of our strong partners in all of this was Annalisa Holtberg from the University of Minnesota Extension. She was phenomenal in shifting some of those extension resources to help us all out. And so and then of course the corn mazes. So we had to figure out how to deal with that. So I am really just using the work that Annalisa and Annie Clodd from the University of Minnesota, she's the fruit specialist, what they developed. So you will be able to have this link so you can get to this page on the website. It has everything that you will want to know. And so for Christmas tree farms, the big decisions you'll have to make is if you're going to offer recreational activities. If you will, there will be more restrictions and you'll have to figure out whether then it will make sense for you to do that financially. If you don't offer recreational activities, then you're more a straight up farm and you will have less restrictions. And remember, the restrictions are just set up so that we keep the amount of air droplets that may potentially have the virus on them. We need to keep that within the number. So we're going to just march through this. If your farm is considering agritourism activities this fall, this page has a summary of all of the rules. So it's a good page to hit. For the most part, and here's the one page I'm going to jump to so you can see this. We're going to go right here. Here you go. So when that Executive Order 82 came out, and I forgot the day on that, 81, the Executive Order 81, signed on July 22nd, this page was really developed, all right? And with MNCTA and MDA and MDH and all of the folks at with the state administration, they came up with, we call them buckets. So all businesses could touch this on the left side, all businesses, and each one of these links has templates. And the templates have everything you could possibly need if you were that thing. And then if you didn't offer that, then you don't have to fill in that section. So for the most part, if you see the center one here, restaurants, farmers markets have to click this one and pick up some of these stipulations out of this template if we're going to allow on-site food consumption. So like the taco, if we want to have a food truck or somebody selling tacos and you want people to be able to eat tacos on your farmer's market, then we have to follow the guidance there. Otherwise, you're going to come down here. So these are all the different buckets. There's entertainment. If it's just straight up a farmer's market, we touch food and ag. like I'm also a farmer, and my farm shop is open the second Saturday of every month. So I came down here and I clicked food and ag business. There's a template in there. And so I created my COVID-19 plan based on that template. And then I did send mine into MNCTA because I figured my plan should probably be legal and like, right? Because I was guessing at some of those sections. And so I did send mine to MNCTA, and MNCTA did approve it. So once you get your COVID-19 plan done, which you all have to have, everybody in food and ag has to have this no matter what you do. We have to have our COVID-19 plans. You can send them, it's confidential, and they just help you through it. For those of our farmers markets who also wanted to offer food samples, and maybe some of the Christmas tree farms want to do that, then we have to come down here and click on grocery and convenience stores. And that's where we find out how to offer food samples. And really, on food samples, it's pretty easy. You still have to follow the Safe Food Sampling Law, which is Minnesota Statute 28A.151. And the additional requirement on food samples, in case you're thinking of doing this, like maybe you're going to offer little samples of hot cider or something, the samples have to be covered. But they don't have to be individually covered. You could have them behind vertical plexiglass or underneath a horizontal plexiglass, but somehow those samples have to be covered. So these are all of the guidances that the MDA has, and you just have to figure out what bucket you fit into, and you may fit into more than one. So now I'm going to go back to the handy dandy screen from Annie and Annalisa. So that's what this tells us. If you click on that Stay Safe Guidance for Business and Industry page, that was that MDA page that you jumped to. So what guidance should my farm follow? Well, you may end up with more than one depending on your activities. So if your farm operates exclusively in ag production, you are going to follow the food and agriculture. And that pretty much says the food and agriculture guidance, we're going to get down to below, you and any of your workers. A worker could be a volunteer, a worker could be an intern, a worker could be an employee. You will have to wear masks. You have to wear face masks. Do your customers? It is not required. It is recommended, highly recommended, but it is not required. If you are in the food and ag bucket, and if your farm offers non-critical entertainment like a corn pit or petting zoos, games, hay rides that are intended for non-required movement, then you are going to end up in the recreational entertainment, and that will have more requirements. Okay. Corn maze kind of hit a hiccup in the couple, like last month. And so on August 26th, there was an addendum made to the food and ag. So you can do a corn maze, and it will not put your farm into that recreational entertainment category. But you do have to follow the guidance for that. And if you go to page 19, yeah, these guidances are kind of long. I just kind of slog through them though. Then you'll find out more about your corn maze. So are any questions at this point? And maybe we should ask anybody that's going to, that you're looking forward. What are the normal activities that you do when you're selling Christmas trees? What other activities do you offer while you're doing that? Is it just straight up Christmas tree? You're selling Christmas trees, or any other activities? And you can type them in the chat too, if that helps.
Hay rides, gift shop, Santa Claus.
Yeah, you're going to be in that recreational entertainment. And so some of that sounded like gift shop, sounded like indoors, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So then you're also going to be limited to that will be limited to 250 customers at any one time. So you're going to have, just like a farmer's market has to figure out how to count 250 people. So you have to have an entrances and exits, and you're going to have some way of counting people as they go in and then as they exit. So you could still do 1,000 people a day, but you can only have 250 going through at any one time. So that you will have to figure that out, okay? So you will have to monitor the entrance and ensure the numbers are within the 250. They are going to flow through. The 250, pardon?
Is there a square foot for indoor
There is, and that is in the guidance. And if you, if you go, we actually, MISA helped us do, MISA helped us kind of figure that out. And we have that template on Minnesota Farmers Market Association page. I'll copy that link into the chat for Mark, and then we can get it out to people. Yes, there is a guideline on that. So you have to follow all of those guidelines then in that recreational entertainment. Are you going to sell any food, any concessions on site? Like, do you think?
Yes, I hear people say.
So then you're going to go click on the guidance for restaurants and bars. And then you will have, so right now at our farmers markets, and this may pertain to you, if you're going to offer on-site food consumption, you have to either declare your whole area, or you're going to cordon off a special area. The food, people cannot walk around and eat. They have to be seated, and we have to count the people in that seated area. And they can, so again, they can flow, you know, you could have so many people. So depending on how big your area is, but again, you have to keep that within 250 customers at any one time. Anyone serving would have to have face masks on. All the people eating have to have face masks on, and except when they're eating or drinking. So if you think in a farmer's market situation, they have to literally cordon it off, but they have to be seated. You can't walk around and eat. You have to be seated. That doesn't apply though to food sampling. Food sampling, the theory there is that they're going to take that little 3-ounce sip and then they're done. So their face mask isn't off. So people can walk around with food sampling, but not eating. So those are two different buckets you have to figure out. And so that is all on that page. And so then Annalise and Annie did some nice scenarios here. This is an apple orchard that does a U-pick and pumpkins. Scenario 2 is a pumpkin patch. Scenario 3 is a farm corn maze. And then we get down to the COVID-19 preparedness plans. Absolutely every single one of us farms, orchards, Christmas tree farms, it doesn't matter what kind you are, we have to have COVID-19 preparedness plans. And there, you just go in, you grab the template, and there's a whole bunch of red ink, and that's what you either use that language or you delete it. Like for instance, I don't have any employees, so I got to delete that whole section on employees. And I don't have an HVAC system, right? I don't have ventilation, so that didn't, because it's outside really. So I didn't have to put anything in there. And I can send you, we've got a couple of farmers markets that they got their plan approved by by MNCTA. My farm plan got approved. So if you want to see something that MNCTA's approved already, we can send you those. John, maybe you got yours approved. We can send you some of these that you can use to look at, so you can kind of figure out what you need to do. And again,
back up to well, hold on and back up a couple paragraphs. The 250 capacity, is that the indoor capacity, or is that the maximum limit on outside at any size farm or orchard?
Outside.
That is outside capacity, regardless of if it's 10 acres or 200?
Hang on a second. So let's use a scenario number 2, and this might be helpful. Okay, a pumpkin patch has entertainment activities at the patch for their customers. In addition to the U-pick pumpkins, hay rides, blah, blah, blah. They also offer this. So that farm, the entire farm must now follow the state guidance for recreational entertainment. One key point of these guidelines is that the number of customers is limited to 250 on the premises at one time. The hay rides do not count as an entertainment activity if the goal of the hay ride is to transport customers to the pumpkin field or apple orchard for U-pick. So I could see that if you give sleigh rides for your customers to go from your shop out to the Christmas trees and bring those trees back in, that would also then match up well with that activity of the hay rides. But if it is a recreational intent, then yes. So this is saying yes. Okay.
Yes, if it's the entertainment intent? Let's say let's simplify it. There are no hay rides of
Got it?
any kind. There's no entertainment. Is there a limitation on capacity?
Yeah, there is. It's still that 250.
Why?
No, I'm not, I want to rephrase it. Outside capacity, no entertainment. Let's use an example of 80 acres. And no indoor at all. All either contactless payment or credit, yeah.
Hang on a sec. Let me, yes, I would tell you. So I'm going to give you two things. Number one, I'm not the end all. I'm not the authority on this, right? What the direction we were given for farmers markets is that, and we're all outside, remember, that is still, we still have to go by that number account. We're still counting people. So I would tell you, yes. However, at the end of this, we give you these nice people that you can contact and they will be able to give you that answer. Paul Huguenin is the director at MDA of the Ag Marketing and Development Division. I'm guessing Karen Lanthier knows Paul well. Catherine Simon, she's the Division Director of Food and Feed Safety. And then you can also contact MNCTA. And all right, and you can literally send them your questions if you want to challenge that or ask that in particular, okay? But I can tell you from the farmers market guidance that we have, we are counting people. We are not allowed to have more than that 250 at any one time. And we are all outside. And I did just re-ask that question to MNCTA the other day and Michelle Smith confirmed that. At any one time, remember, you can still do 1,000 a day. You just have to flow them through quite a bit, which is why in the Minnesota Farmers Market world, we keep telling our customers, this is the year that it's not a social event. You don't send your family this year, you send one person. And you do your grocery stopping and you go home, right? I mean, we don't do pop anymore. We're not offering music. This is the year we're just trying to decrease those droplets that potentially have the virus. And it's not going to be forever, but it is for 2020, and we're hoping it's not 2021.
Okay, then another quick question. You had talked about the food service, but let's say no food, but beverage only.
Beverage is food.
It is food, so
You
it's
bet.
the same things. Okay.
Yep. Food is anything you put in your mouth. And that's defined in law. Food in Minnesota is defined in law, but it's pretty much anything you put in your mouth. Food and drink. And that's selling food, right? Again, it's different than food samples. But you'd have to follow, if you're going to do food samples, you have to follow the Minnesota statute 28A.151. That's the food sampling law. And then the only additional requirement is that all samples have to be covered in some way.
A question about pets outside. Any restriction this year?
Pets, like dog and cat. So
Yeah,
there is a law. There are laws in Minnesota. This is a hot topic in farmers markets. The law says that you cannot have animals except for service animals. So let's put those aside. But you cannot have animals in the eating area. So if you can imagine a farmer's market, the eating area at a farmer's market is the booth where those foods are being sold. No animals are allowed. But the aisles between the booths, that's not the fooding establishment area, and pets are allowed there. So again, we always talk our markets through both the food safety. Dogs can lift up their leg and pee on the pumpkins that are on the ground. That would be not a good thing. But more importantly, we worry about it from a dog or biting someone. So we do see pets at farmers markets, but they can never be in the food area. And that would be anywhere near a booth that sells food or a food truck. So there is a little bit of a nuance there. If it's not in the food area, then pets would be allowed. But if it is in the food area, then they're not allowed. Is that okay? Unless there's an
Thank you.
ordinance that allows that.
That explains. Good.
Okay, good luck. Okay. Anything else? So that pretty much covers it. I mean, you're going to have to go, every farm has got to click through these templates, and then you have to complete them. You have to share them with your workers, whoever that is. It could be your family, but if you have workers, you have to share that, and you have to post them. These have to be posted. Do you have to hand in your COVID-19 preparedness plan to anybody? No. You don't have to, you can send it to MNCTA to get guidance on it, but you don't have to send it anywhere. You just have to have it available in case you're ever inspected. Okay?
And the final question of if things change, if the regulations, suggestions change over the next 2 months, what's the best way to stay up to date?
Well, if you're a farmer's market, you'd come to MFMA. Who will you, Mark, should we let you know? I mean, we'll just loop everybody in at this point to make sure everybody kind of knows, but it'll come directly from the Department of Agriculture. I mean, we will all get emails. As long as you're on Commissioner Peterson's list, you'll get an email on it. That's how we find out too.
Yeah, we haven't been getting things directly except through, well, from MFA.
Okay,
Yeah,
so let's do this. You tell me who you want to be on Commissioner Peterson's, and I'll get Kaisha Beatty is Commissioner Peterson's executive assistant, and we'll make sure you're on that list so you do get them directly. And then we should also, we'll make sure that we pair you up with either Annie. Well, you could come in with Annie, or you could come in with Annalisa. We'll just make sure you're in that loophole with the rest of us, right? Because we all kind of stick together and learn together. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I saw 3 chat messages specifically about Santa's scavenger hunts and those photo display, head cut out things where people put their head through and get pictures taken.
So those are all recreational. You're going to have to follow the recreational guidelines.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Okay.
So again, if you go back to the big picture, you need to stay, it's 6 feet apart, get those masks on. You're trying to, keep those droplets with the virus from spreading.
Okay. Just looking, we can move on, I think, to